We've just published our March 2025 Economic and Fiscal Outlook. Here are 5 things you need to know about how the global and domestic context has changed since our last EFO, how that's affected our underlying economic and fiscal forecast, how the policy measures included in the Chancellor's spring statement respond to that context, what that means for the headroom against our fiscal rules, and how that headroom compares to the array of risks to the economic and fiscal outlook going forward. Since the Chancellor presented her first budget in the autumn, the economic outlook has become both more challenging, with output stagnating, business and consumer confidence falling, and energy prices and government bond yields rising over the past 6 months, and also less certain, with big questions about the UK's recent productivity performance, European security arrangements, and global trade policies. Against this more difficult backdrop, and before taking account of spring statement policies, the forecast we presented to the Chancellor halved the rate of GDP growth this year from 2 to 1%, and left the level of productivity lower in the medium term. It also had the current budget in deficit by around £4 billion at the end of the decade. In and around this spring statement, the government announced reforms to the planning system, which we expect to boost house building by over 170,000 over the next 5 years. It also announced cuts to welfare spending totaling £5 billion, tax measures which raise an additional £2 billion in revenue, and £7 billion in cuts to overseas aid to pay for an increase in defence spending. By the 5th year of our forecast, these and other changes were just enough to restore the headroom against the Chancellor's main fiscal rule to the £10 billion current surplus she had back in the autumn. But £10 billion is still the third lowest margin any Chancellor's had against their fiscal rules, and the risks to the outlook for UK productivity, interest rates, and global tariff policies could all reduce it to zero over the next 5 years. And you can read more about it in our March 2025 Economic and Fiscal Outlook.